The wrench slipped from Jack Thompson's calloused fingers, clanging against the concrete floor of his garage with a sharp metallic echo. He cursed under his breath, the sound swallowed by the hum of the old radio perched on his workbench. At 48, his knees creaked as he bent to retrieve the tool, a reminder of years spent hunched over engines and crawling under chassis. The garage smelled of oil and rust, a familiar tang that clung to his clothes and skin, like a second skin. It was his sanctuary, this cluttered space on the edge of a sleepy town, where the only sounds were the clink of tools and the occasional sputter of a car refusing to cooperate. Jack had come here 5 years ago, fleeing the wreckage of a life he no longer recognized. The divorce had been messy, but it was the accident that broke him. The night his daughter Lily slipped away in a crumpled heap of steel and glass. He'd been a soldier once, a man who fixed Humvees under fire, but he couldn't fix that. Now he fixed cars instead, keeping his head down and his heart locked away. The townsfolk knew him as the gruff mechanic who could coax life from any engine, but they didn't know him, not really. The radio crackled, cutting through his thoughts. Authorities are expanding the search for 6-year-old Emily Johnson, missing for over 48 hours. Volunteers are needed. She was last seen in a pink jacket carrying a stuffed bunny. Jack's grip tightened on the wrench. He turned up the volume, the reporter's voice filling the garage like an uninvited guest. Blonde hair, blue eyes, a little girl lost in the sprawling woods that hugged the town like a dark, silent embrace. He pictured her out there, shivering, in the damp chill, and something stirred in his chest, a pang he hadn't felt in years. He shook his head, forcing his focus back to the carburetor in front of him. It wasn't his problem. He wasn't a hero anymore, just a man who knew pistons better than people. But the image lingered, gnawing at him as he worked. The bell above the door jingled, a tinny sound that made him flinch. Mrs. Peterson shuffled in, her usual chatter replaced by a tight-lipped frown. "Jack, you heard about little Emily? It's just terrible. The whole town's out looking." "Yeah," he muttered, eyes fixed on the engine. "Heard it on the radio. Her parents are a wreck. I was just at the community center. Search parties are everywhere, but nothing yet." Her voice trembled, heavy with unspoken fear. Jack nodded, his jaw tight. "They'll find her." Mrs. Peterson lingered, her gaze searching his face. "If you've got time, they could use more hands." "I've got work here," he said, sharper than he meant to. She sighed and left, the bell chiming her exit. Alone again, Jack tried to lose himself in the rhythm of his task, but the radio's words looped in his mind. 2 days. A 6-year-old couldn't survive long in those woods, not with the cold nights and the predators that prowled after dark. He slammed the hood shut, the bang echoing off the walls. Why was this getting to him? He barely knew the Johnsons, had seen them at the gas station once or twice. Yet the thought of that little girl, alone and scared, clawed at the walls he'd built around himself. Finally, he threw down his tools, the clatter a surrender. He couldn't sit here pretending it didn't matter. Grabbing his jacket, a faded denim thing patched at the elbows, he locked the garage and climbed into his truck. The engine rumbled to life, a low growl that matched his mood. He told himself he was just taking a drive to clear his head, but his tires crunched gravel toward the trailhead on the town's outskirts, a place he went when the past grew too loud. The woods greeted him with a hush, the air thick with the scent of pine and wet earth. Sunlight slanted through the canopy, painting the ground in shifting patches of gold and shadow. Jack walked without a plan, his boots sinking into the soft loam, his breath visible in the crisp afternoon air. He wasn't sure what he was looking for, maybe nothing, but he scanned the underbrush anyway, half expecting to see a flash of pink. Then he did. A small shoe, pink and scuffed, lay tangled in a briar bush. His heart lurched, a jolt that stole his breath. He knelt, fingers brushing the muddy sole. It matched the description, Emily's shoe. Nearby, the leaves were trampled, a faint trail snaking deeper into the trees. Someone small had passed through here. Jack straightened, pulse hammering. He should call the police, let them take it from here. But time was slipping away, and he knew these woods better than most. He pulled out his phone, opened Google Maps, and pinned his location with trembling fingers. A quick text to the sheriff's office. Found a shoe, might be Emily's. Coordinates attached, searching now. Then he shoved the phone back in his pocket and followed the trail. The woods thickened, branches clawing at his sleeves as he pushed forward. The light dimmed, swallowed by the dense canopy, and the air grew colder, sharper. "Emily!" he called, his voice rough against the silence. "Emily, can you hear me?" Nothing but the rustle of leaves and the distant cry of a hawk. He pressed on, eyes darting between trees, searching for any sign. Then, a glint of red. A ribbon, snagged on a low branch. A few steps further, a candy wrapper, crumpled and bright against the dull brown of the forest floor. His chest tightened. She was close. "Emily!" he shouted again, louder this time. A faint sound answered. A whimper, soft and broken. Jack's head snapped toward it, and he stumbled through the underbrush, thorns snagging his jeans. There, beneath a gnarled oak, sat a small figure in a pink jacket, clutching a stuffed bunny. Her blonde hair was matted, her face streaked with dirt and tears. "Emily," he breathed, dropping to his knees beside her. She flinched, eyes wide with fear, and shrank back against the tree. "Hey, it's okay," Jack said, hands raised, voice low and steady. "I'm not gonna hurt you. My name's Jack. I fix cars in town. Your mom and dad sent me to find you." Her lip quivered, tears spilling anew. "I want my mommy." "I know, sweetheart. I'm gonna take you to her. Can I check if you're hurt first?" She nodded, hesitant, and pointed to her ankle. Jack gently rolled up her pant leg, wincing at the sight of the swollen, bruised flesh. "Looks like a sprain. Can you walk?" Emily shook her head, a small sob escaping. "It hurts." "All right, I'll carry you. We'll get you home safe." He scooped her up, her slight weight settling against his chest. She clung to him, arms tight around his neck, her bunny pressed between them. Jack turned back, retracing, his steps through the tangled woods. The journey was slow, each step a battle against roots and brambles. Emily shivered, her breath warm against his shoulder. "What's your bunny's name?" he asked, desperate to keep her calm. "Mr. Floppy," she murmured. "Good name. Does he like adventures?" "Not this one," she said, voice barely audible. Jack managed to chuckle, though his arms ached and his lungs burned. They reached the stream he'd crossed earlier, its waters now a churning torrent from the recent rains. The log he'd used as a bridge glistened with moisture, half submerged. Jack cursed under his breath, scanning the banks for another way across. The water was too deep, the current too strong. The log was their only shot. "Hold on tight, Emily," he said, stepping onto the slick wood. She gripped him harder, her face buried in his jacket. The stream roared below, a cold spray misting his legs. He moved deliberately, boots gripping, the bark, every muscle taut with focus. Halfway across, his foot slipped. The world tilted and Emily gasped as they lurched toward the water. Jack's free hand shot out, grabbing a jutting branch, and he steadied himself, heart slamming against his ribs. For a moment, he saw Lily's face, her wide, trusting eyes, before he blinked it away. "I've got you," he rasped, more to himself than her. With a final surge, he crossed to the other side, collapsing onto the muddy bank. Emily trembled in his arms, but they were safe. "You're brave," she whispered, peering up at him, like a superhero. Jack's throat tightened. "Just an old mechanic, kiddo. Let's get you to my truck." He carried her the rest of the way, legs shaking but determined. The truck's headlights cut through the gathering dusk as he buckled, her into the passenger seat, cranking the heat to chase away her chills. She curled up, clutching Mr. Floppy, exhaustion pulling at her eyelids. The drive back to his garage was quiet, the hum of the engine a steady pulse beneath the tension in his chest. He kept glancing at Emily, her pale face a stark contrast to the pink jacket now smeared with dirt. She was alive, and that was enough for now. Inside the garage, Jack set her on an old leather couch, the springs creaking under her weight. He draped a blanket over her shoulders, its woolen warmth a shield against the cold that had seeped into her bones. "I'll get you something hot," he said, heading to the kitchenette. The kettle hissed as he made hot chocolate, the sweet cocoa scent mingling with the garage's sharper odors. He hadn't made it since Lily, since the nights they'd sat together giggling over marshmallows. He pushed the memory down, handing Emily the mug. She took it with both hands, sipping slowly. "Thank you," she said, voice small but steady. "You're welcome. Now let's get you home." He grabbed the phone and dialed the sheriff. "Jack Thompson here. I've got Emily Johnson at my garage on Main Street. She's safe, but her ankle's hurt." The dispatcher's relief crackled through the line. "That's incredible, Mr. Thompson. We'll send help, but there's a storm rolling in. Roads are flooding. Might take a while." Jack glanced out the window. Dark clouds loomed, the wind rattling the garage doors. "She needs a doctor. Any way to speed it up?" "Hold on. There's a Medevac chopper nearby for another call. If you've got a landing spot, they can pick her up." "There's a field next to the garage," Jack said. "Flat, wide open." "Perfect. Stay with her. We'll redirect them." Jack hung up and turned to Emily. "You're getting a helicopter ride." Her eyes widened, a spark of wonder breaking through her fatigue. "Really?" "Yep. Ever been in one?" She shook her head, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "No, but it sounds fun." They waited, the storm's first raindrops tapping the roof like impatient fingers. Jack showed her his tools, pointing out a wrench shaped like a fish. "Found that at a flea market, never used it. Too pretty." Emily giggled, the sound light and unexpected. "You're funny." "First time I've heard that," he said, grinning despite himself. She told him about her brother, about hide-and-seek gone wrong, her words tumbling out as trust grew. "I hid too good," she said. "Then I couldn't find my way back." "You did the right thing staying put," Jack replied. "Made it easier to find you." Then a low thrum cut through the rain. The helicopter. Jack peered out, watching its lights pierce the gloom. It descended into the field, rotors whipping the air into a frenzy, flattening grass and sending leaves spiraling. The noise was deafening, a roar that shook the walls. Two paramedics burst in, rain-slicked and efficient. "We've got her," one said, taking Emily from Jack's arms. She looked back, clutching Mr. Floppy. "Will you visit me?" she asked. "Sure, kiddo. When you're better," he forced a smile, though his chest ached as they strapped her to a stretcher. The paramedics rushed her out, and Jack followed to the doorway, rain pelting his face. The helicopter's blades thundered, lifting it into the churning sky. Emily waved a tiny hand against the window, and he waved back until the lights vanished into the storm. He stood there, soaked and shivering, the silence ringing in his ears. She was safe. He'd done it. But the emptiness crept in, a familiar shadow. Hours later, the storm eased, leaving puddles that mirrored the stars. A knock startled him. Emily's parents, their faces raw with gratitude. Her mother, Ellen, threw her arms around him, sobbing. "You saved her, thank you." Jack stiffened, unused to the contact. "Just glad she's okay." "You're a hero," her father Tom said, gripping his shoulder. "We owe you everything." They handed him an envelope, Emily's shaky handwriting on the front. Inside, a crayon drawing. A man and a girl holding hands, a heart overhead. "Thank you," Jack scrawled below. His vision blurred and he nodded, words failing him. After they left, Jack pinned the drawing above his workbench, its colors bright against the grime. He sank into a chair, staring at it. Lily's laughter echoed in his mind, softer now, less accusing. He'd failed her, but today he'd saved Emily. One small act, marking a spot on a map, stepping into the woods, had changed everything. The next day, the town buzzed with the story. Customers lingered, slapping his back, calling him a hero. He shrugged it off, but the warmth stayed. Over the weeks, Emily's family invited him to dinner, her shy grin a balm to old wounds. He started nodding to neighbors, even joined a search training session at the community center. Small steps toward a world he'd shut out. One evening, as the sun dipped low, painting the garage in hues of amber, Jack traced the drawings, heart with a finger. He'd been lost too in his own way, but kindness had found him. And in that quiet moment, he understood. Sometimes the simplest gesture could mend a broken soul and ripple outward, touching lives in ways unseen.